What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with the RK Outpost, and when it comes to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, with the exception of Spider-Man No Way Home, which was a success with the critics, with the audience, and in the box office, Phase 4 of the MCU has kind of been a complete and total disaster. Your three other theatrical releases combined absolutely lost money in the box office when you factor in advertising, when you factor in everything else. And their other products are hid behind the paywall for Disney+. They're not going to share their analytics with us. But when you look at the reaction that people have had, it doesn't seem to be overwhelmingly positive or that people really care too much about a lot of these characters that are being introduced. And of course, Kevin Feige has always had this plan going forward in Phase 4 of the MCU. Kevin Feige affirms Marvel Studios' focus on diversity. And specifically, in Phase 4 of the MCU, we knew that that was going to be the focus. So when Kevin Feige comes out and says something that seems to be very declarative and very definitive about the future of Marvel and the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, people are going to listen to that. And it looks like he did just that in a speech for Benedict Cumberbatch's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Take a look at this. Kevin Feige says Doctor Strange is the new anchor of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. With Iron Man and Captain America gone, Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange is now the anchor of the MCU as it travels into the multiverse. And it's a very interesting sentiment and an interesting phrase from Kevin Feige. But the reason so many people are talking about it right now is because it didn't seem like this was always the plan. In fact, it sounds like Kevin Feige had plans for someone else to be the anchor or maybe the face of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And of course, that character was Brie Larson. Kevin Feige says Captain Marvel will lead the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And of course, we had tons of rumors and things like that about her being the face, but this is from Kevin Feige himself. When we found out that Brie Larson might be interested in joining our world, we had a number of meetings. She was a huge fan of the character in the comics. One of the highlights of my career at Marvel was introducing her at Comic-Con and having her come out on stage and stand there with literally almost everyone else from our movies. There she was at the forefront. And it was a great foreshadowing, not just for how the audiences are going to embrace Brie as this character, but also for how Captain Marvel is about to take the lead and be at the forefront of the entire cinematic universe. Oh, how things have changed ever since the release of Captain Marvel and when Brie Larson became one of the most unlikable people in the Marvel Cinematic Universe after what happened with Endgame, where it seems like they almost may have either rewrote or reshot parts of it to make sure that she wasn't a very big part of this. And then when her sequel, Captain Marvel 2, gets changed to The Marvels, all of a sudden Brie Larson certainly does not seem to be a focal point of the Marvel Cinematic Universe going forward. So when you combine all of those things, for Kevin Feige to say what he did about Benedict Cumberbatch is very interesting. I want to get into the exact quotes. Marvel Studios boss and keeper of MCU secrets, Kevin Feige, has described Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange as the anchor of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as it delves even deeper into the madness of the multiverse. The upcoming sequel, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, will put the master of the mystic arts through his paces as the consequences of unleashing the multiverse become clear. And this is from Kevin Feige. Benedict has turned this character into an icon, appearing in a historic 3 of the top 6 films of all time. So that would be Infinity War, Endgame, and I guess now Spider-Man, huh? I guess that is true. That is true when you put it that way. It's been quite a journey. I remember our first meeting was set up as a general. We wanted to pitch him this great character, and before we could, he said, "So tell me about Doctor Strange, because you knew. Because somewhere you knew what this could be, and you've always seen the tremendous potential in this character. Because of that, you've become the anchor of the Marvel Cinematic Universe and the only actor capable of guiding us through the madness of the multiverse." Now, is he specifically, could he go out and call Brie Larson the face of the MCU going forward, tomorrow? I guess he could. He could say, well, we mean anchor in terms of with everything going on in the multiverse, he has to be the one to bring it all in, I guess. But I think what that means and what a lot of other people are drawing the conclusion for is that may be, he may be the focal point. He may be the Robert Downey Jr. of the next phase of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is surprising to a lot of people. But maybe they've just failed that badly. They have failed to have characters that really resonate with people in a meaningful way. not like the characters that we've said goodbye to at the end of Endgame. And there's no way that people want Brie Larson to be that going forward. That's very clear. You can talk about the $1 billion Captain Marvel made all you want by smashing it in between Infinity War and Endgame and telling us that it was going to be super important that Brie Larson, Captain Marvel, you need to see this to understand what happens in Endgame. Of course, that was a lie. That didn't need to happen at all. And maybe just with the reaction to Brie Larson, people are moving away. Now, of course, they're still moving forward with The Marvels, no longer Captain Marvel 2, no longer a solo sequel film, but in fact about The Marvels. Hasn't stopped Brie Larson from promoting it, being proud of it, making sure she still very much is associated with the MCU. But in terms of what their focus is on going forward, maybe it may have changed with Kevin Feige and these statements right here. Who knows? We also do know that Scarlet Witch will be appearing in Multiverse of Madness. We've seen that in the trailers. I made a comment on that trailer reaction about her comments to him and how I wasn't a big fan of that line in the trailers and how she was speaking and how hypocritical it really was for her to say something like that. But that's besides the point. Kevin Feige has come out and said that Scarlet Witch is the most powerful Avenger, and that's even including Doctor Strange, yet he is the anchor, at least according to Feige. But what do you guys think about this? Is this just simply a case of it being in a speech and him wanting to be like, oh, he's anchoring everyone throughout the multiverse, this character? Or do you think it has more to do with maybe him being the focal point of the MCU going forward? Let me know in the comments below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.
Thanks for watching, everyone, and a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my PO box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.